Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to try a little something that I saw on social media because social media is a part of everybody's life. Well, I guess not everybody, but most people's lives. But I saw this little project and I thought it was a really cute little way to use up some fabric scraps, and I really just wanted to try it. It's going to be something super quick and easy. I did something similar to this a few months ago with making some scrap fabric flowers, but I did them two different ways. Well, today is going to be a third way. Anyway, grab your sewing gear if you want to follow along. Let's get into it and let's try this thing and see what the hell happens. Who knows? So, let's go. Okay, so on the tutorial that I saw, I just saw them grab some fabric scraps. Now, I am getting some out of this little bin of random scraps that I've cut up. These were from like little projects that I did when I was doing my quilting. I was doing my quilting series on the channel, and every time that I would get done with the quilting series, I would just cut up whatever I had left into like 2-inch squares, 3-inch squares. They've been sitting in a bin for a while, so I really kind of wanted to use them up. But in the tutorial, basically the way that it was set up was there was a base piece of material that they sewed everything onto. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of the fabrics here in my stash. The idea is to make like a little petal shape, and then you kind of curl it on top of itself, and then you sew the little curls into a circular shape. You just keep layering them until the flower gets as big as you want. On the video, and I don't think that their pieces were quite this big, but it was a shape something similar to this. This is just like an oval shape, and what they did was they curled it up kind of like this, and then right here they would take their circular piece and connect it, and then they just had a whole bunch of like different petals. So we're just going to kind of take this shape and see how many we can get. All right, so let's see what we want to use as our base material. Okay, so I found some canvas. This is just like some kind of like a drop cloth that you get at the hardware store or whatever. So I'm going to use this as my base material because I feel like that's going to just give it some more structure. Oh yeah, see how that turned out? Perfect. But now what we'll do is we'll take our scrap pieces and we will cut out some petals based off of our template. Beautiful. Beautiful. See, look at that. Okay, so on the tutorial, the way that they did it was they had the base material and then you take your petals and you curl them. But the way that I'm going to curl them is I'm going to have the outside, the right side is going to be the outside of my little petal, kind of like this. So on the thing, it just says that you just start adding your petals. You just sew a little bit down, and then you just keep adding petals until it gets as fluffy as you want. All right, so this is what things are looking like for the outer petals. I dig it. I like it. I do realize that I'm going to need a shit ton more petals. So I'm going to cut some more petals, and then we'll get back to sewing them on onto the next row and all the way to the center. So what we're going to do is we're just going to continue on. So you can see that the edge of the outer ones is out here. So on these, I'm going to come in probably about a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to sew inside of here. And I'm going to continue all the way around the flower. I'm going to keep going in that same pattern until I get to the middle, and I may have to actually make my petals a little bit smaller, but we'll see. But this is where I'm going to start with my next layer, and like I said, I'm just going to keep going in from there. Okay, okay. Let me cut it off of the machine and I'll show you what we're looking like. So this is what it looks like on the sides. Okay, okay, this is what the middle looks like. Okay, we're getting somewhere. I kind of do wish it was a little bit more full, honestly. And that probably, oh, the back looks kind of cute, actually. I like how the back looks. That would be something I would probably need to do on the first layer. But I'm going to continue on as this. I mean, you can see how big, this is my hand. This is how big the flower is. I'm just going to continue on and just kind of see what happens. We're already this far in, so let's go. As you can see, this is what we're looking like. And you see that little space right there. Of course, in the flurry of me trying to get it back on the machine, I sewed one of my outer petals onto the back. So let's go ahead and get that seam ripped. So it's kind of bulky here in the middle. What you could do is you could make some sort of like circular thing for the middle and just end it there. But I think I may add one last layer of white on the inside. I'm going to cut some of this bulk out. All right, so this is what I have got so far. Here's the back. Is it bad that I like the back more than the front? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just my eye being weird, but here's the front. And I can fluff it up a little bit. It's not as fluffy as I thought that it would be. And that might have just been the size petals that I was using. That's very, very possible. It is pretty thick in the middle. When I took it off of the machine, I had a little bit of an issue getting it off. What I'm gonna do now is for the center part, I think I'm just gonna glue something on there instead of trying to sew it. So I decided that I was gonna do this purple instead of a yellow. I just could not find anything that really went with all of the different purples. Like I guess I could have done a green or something like that, but I really kind of like this. This was that piece earlier that had the interfacing and I tried to pull it off and I was like, eh. So I'm just gonna cut a circle out of this and I'm gonna put it in the middle. I believe I am just gonna stitch it instead of gluing it. I just can't force myself to glue it and we'll go from there. So this is the finished product. It's kind of flat right now, which is not what I was expecting. I do feel like if I used maybe some interfacing, maybe kind of stiffen up the petals, it might look a little fluffier, but I mean, it's okay. It's all right. I'll figure out something to put this on. Raw edges. Then this, I did some zigzag stitching on the centerpiece. So there is a lovely little scrap fabric flower. Take a pile of scraps and turn it into this. It's a pretty cute little project. I don't know if I would do it again. I might do it on a smaller scale than this because this took way longer than I thought it would. But I think it's all right. I think it has its applications for sure. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me today. If you want to see more videos that have scrap projects and upcycling and quilting and all that good stuff, super beginner friendly, easy to do, check out my other videos on my channel. I do appreciate you watching today, and I will see you next time.